Mic check. There. Hang it up. Make sure y'all hear me real quick. Hold on. Get my levels right. Okay. Hold up. Let me get my shit off. You back? Hold on. Get all my sounds out. Get all my shit off. Okay, I think that's enough. I'm overdoing the sound. All right, y'all. Hold on. Let me turn this down real quick. There we go. Okay, y'all should hear me fine. Okay, welcome back, y'all. Another episode. Another crazy exploration. Did I say the word right? This is Dissect Dialogue. Y'all should know me by now. If y'all don't know me, Eric T. Back at it again. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Now, I've been doing some research on some things, right? And I'm noticing a lot of like division as far as like relationship goes, right? It's like a big influence of like a lot of celebrities, especially that are breaking up, divorcing. I'm seeing that a lot. I don't know if that's an agenda that they're trying to do, something like predictive programming, but I'm noticing that a lot, especially in our community. I'm noticing that it's being heavily, and most of the time it's like for no reason. Like, for example, you ever like see someone when they break up or divorce, right? What they always say when they can't really find anything with divorce and, infidelity, domestic disputes. They usually say irreconcilable differences, right? That's what you always hear. When I hear that shit, now, of course, the statistics, if 80% of divorces filed by women. So anytime I hear irreconcilable differences, I usually think that the woman probably got bored or she was probably the problem. That's usually what I think. I hate to say that because I know people are going to say like, well, what if the man did that? If the man was cheating on you, but he was making hella money, I doubt you'd look for somebody else. Like most movies even show, I'm not condoning it again. This is objective thinking. I don't want people running with what I'm saying and thinking like, oh, he supports infidelity. No, I don't. But I am saying that it's rare that you see a woman leave a rich, successful man because of infidelity. It's very rare that you find that. If they do, then that's just like very few, like a small percentage. But that's not the main gist of what we're going to talk about. It's part of it, but I just want to discuss this. So I pulled up, well, two things. I pulled up an old clip. I'll probably show it in a short, or I'll do it after this. Somewhere I could work in this video. But anyway, y'all probably seen it. It was that video where it was a black couple and then they were going over their vows, right? And they were showing that when the pastor was going over the vows for the wife to say, yes, I do, etc., etc. And a lot of the stuff she was saying, she wasn't really feeling. Like, I think like she kind of was, the sickness, health, better, worse, rich, poor, love and obey. That I think the richer and poor, she kind of choked on. She was like kind of talking to the side of her neck, or she hesitated. And I think the one when they said obey, that also, and she didn't hesitate, but she kind of was acting stupid, like she didn't know that that's what they went over before. Because what marriage is, they go over exactly, which is another thing. Marriages are scripted. Anyway, yes, but they were going over that, while going into the actual ceremony, blah, 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 blah. So it made me really question exactly like a lot of things that goes on in marriage. I don't want to make up numbers and say like there's a fall in marriages or, but some things you don't really need statistics or data for. I mean, what we see a lot is like not a lot of people are, ready to go into the whole marriage. Like it's really scary. Like I've literally heard people say, but this isn't. I'm going over the rails, so y'all gotta bear with me. But I just hear a lot of people say that marriage is a big commitment and it's so nervous. Men and women. I've heard men and women say this. Men, it's such a tough thing to do. I'm not ready for it. It's too much of a commitment. It's too hard. I've heard bad stories about people being married and I don't want to be divorced and blah blah blah. But you're willing to have children with a person that you met like 3 weeks ago at a club. So it's like, and you was probably drunk. Y'all were both probably drunk, and it's like you're contradicting yourself. It's just a bundle of excuses, but that's not the major point. This one person, I forget her name, that I was watching what she was saying about women's true nature and their real true nature. And sorry to the alpha females, the alpha women, the independents, the Miss Independents of the world. Hence, Miss Independent, not Mrs. Independent. But yeah, so I noticed that she was saying how um, women were receivers, meaning they receive information. They're, supposed to be the person, when there's a man and a woman, the woman's supposed to be the person that receives what the man is teaching them. You know, when it comes to sex, they receive the seed, you know, when they give money, they receive this and disperse it, make sure everything's good. You know what I mean? Like, just women are receivers, men are givers, women are receivers. That's that's in our biology. It's in our DNA. It's in our makeup, right? So I always get confused when I see these alpha females saying how they don't need a man for X, Y, Z, whatever. They can make their own money. They can buy for whatever they want. They can go ahead and take trips, etc., etc. But they still spend their husband's money, or they won't do for their husbands what they expect their husbands to do for them. It's like that selective traditional crap, right? You want to be traditional in some, or you accept traditional ways for certain things, but then when it's the opposite, is you want to go to modern times, and I'm seeing that a lot. Also, what I'm noticing is that a lot of men, good or bad, just in general, men in general aren't even appreciated with the things they do. Like I said, they could be perfect human being, everybody's favorite guy, Jesus Christ. He can be perfect as hell without a blemish. And certain women will still try to find some way to complain, say he doesn't do this. Like, how many movies I've seen with like, couples being separated that have, kids or a child, and they'll say like, "Oh, my husband's always working all the time." Well, do you not want him to work? Do you want y'all to be on the goddamn street heating out the trash cans? Like the logic never even made sense to me when I would see that in movies. Like, do you not want them? It's like you make fun of men for not working, not having money. Okay, whatever. They do work. They do make money. They may not be around the family all the time, but you kind of wanted that, no? So I'm seeing a lot of double talk, people contradicting whatever. Don't get me wrong, you got men that contradict a lot of times too, but this is what I want to get at. And again, forgive me for being long-winded. Also wanted to discuss like, but matter of fact, I need this. I should have did this a long time ago. Let's do. I'll do a breakdown, then I'll get down to my point. So, marriage. People, what is marriage? What is marriage supposed to be? It says marriage, also known as matrimony or wedlock, is a culturally and often legally recognized union between people called spouses. It establishes rights and obligations between them, as well as between them and their children, if they have any, and between them and their in laws. It's nearly a cultural universal thing, but the definition of marriage varies between cultures and religions. Typically, it's an institution in which interpersonal relationships, usually sexual, are acknowledged or sanctioned. In some cultures, marriage is recommended or considered to be compulsory before pursuing sexual activity. Break it down, marry before you carry. That's what it means. A marriage ceremony is called a wedding, while a private marriage is sometimes called an elopement. Now, here's my take on what I was taught on marriage was, right? A lot of times when it comes to marriage, what I was taught was people did it because they really truly wanted to be with the person. I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. I want to have kids with you, vice versa. That's what I was taught to believe. Nowadays, because feminism ruined everything, everything's transactional. Everything is business wise, everything is money related. Nobody wants to be with each other for the long haul unless someone is providing something for the next person and so on and so forth. And the problem is, and also, what's the word I'm looking for? Roles and sometimes authority is challenged, which it shouldn't be. As a man and a woman, they have their defined roles. A man shouldn't have to compete with a woman's job, vice versa. A woman shouldn't have to compete with a man's job. This reminds me of one episode. I don't know if y'all seen Everybody Hates Chris. I probably talked about it. Where Julius was on strike, right? There was on a work strike. It was something about that. I don't know exactly what, but either way, am I saying Julius? Yes, Julius stayed at home, or Rochelle was, working because obviously he wasn't working. He was on a strike, whatever. But Julius was actually a good stay-at-home parent. He made sure everything was clean. He made sure everything was right. Food was cooked, laundry was done. I was like, okay, Julius. Like he made sure everything was good, and the kids were noticing that, and Rochelle was pretty jealous. She didn't like the fact that someone was doing, you know, her job better than her. But the kicker is she always complained about doing her job. That's the problem with modern, relationship and dating. You got people in these relationships long term. Certain women say they don't want to do this type of job, whatever, even though from tradition, it's always been like that. Woman is, house, cleans up, cooks, all that. But they say they're not going to do that. They like saying, I'm not nobody's maid. I'm not nobody's mom. I'm not nobody's slave. That rhymed. But you hear women say that. But they have no problem trying to compete with men to get these boss roles. They always want to go CEO. They want to say they're entrepreneurs and all that. Right? But then on the flip side, men, I don't want to, and I hate bringing the same feminine role because it's funny. People say masculine to women is like, it's applaud, but feminine men is almost, dogged down. They kind of, frown upon that. But let's say man takes on, I believe that, I think I've gotten to a point where I believe like a man can do his role in a woman's role and not get any credit, but a woman can do half of a man's job and nothing, little to nothing of her natural job as a woman and still get applauded. That's what I see about, the modern man and woman, relationship. That's what I'm seeing nowadays. That's what I'm noticing. I mean, as far as like the whole sex before marriage, I mean, let's be honest. Most of our parents was probably fucking way long before they even met each other. So, I mean, that's kind of like a case by case thing as far as the sex before marriage thing. That's like whatever, you know. You wanna. I mean, people like skimming through their good book or whatever Bible, but I'm pretty sure there was probably like you honestly think, excuse me, that people wasn't having sex before they was so called getting married. Like it didn't make any sense. So you tell me Adam and Eve was married before they had Cain? I don't even think marriage was even a thing, or which is perverted proves my point. If we're gonna go that logic, but damn, I'm dragging this long. But that's not the main question. I was supposed to say it beforehand, but I'll just say it anyway. It really makes me think: who's the prize? Who is the prize? As far as like relationship goes. Oh, okay. That's my point I was trying to make. But yeah, if men are givers and women are receivers, that's when I was mentioning it. Yeah, about the aisle, about women walking down the aisle. What is this? What is the story about women walking down the aisle? Well, the fathers, supposed to give away their precious, gift their daughter, and to keep the bloodline or whatever, they make sure they find the right man for them. So that's why the father has the wife down. I'm like, okay. But going back to the receiver giver thing, if how do I break this down? Man walks his daughter, to the aisle to be married. Why isn't the mother assisting? How do I word this? I hope y'all trying to understand what I'm getting at. Why doesn't the mother, you know, be on the side with his son? Why is that never? I don't know. I just randomly think about that. I'm sorry because I know I can go on a tangent. The dad walks down the woman to the aisle. That's what we all grew up seeing when we see weddings. Matter of fact, when the last time we ever seen weddings? Or like had like a invitation like, oh, come to our wedding. That's a random topic. But yeah, let's break down. So the origin, yeah. So a lot of brides love the idea of honoring their independence and strength by walking down the aisle on their. And that's the crazy part. A lot of times, women don't even need their dad or whoever father figure to even walk down. Sometimes they walk down by themselves. But anyway, or walking down with their fiance, sibling, the two of them heading towards their future as equals. Well, when I always saw the dad walking down the daughter, down the aisle. But I always wonder, like, why doesn't the mom, assist the son, prep him to, I'm trying to say it in the right way, but basically flip flop the thing. Like the woman is, walking down to marry the groom. The groom is eventually going to be the provider and protector, right? The person that makes sure that nobody harms her, that she's always kept the right. This whole, oh, a woman's the prize. And you notice that anytime you hear some of these modern women say, well, I'm the prize, and then you ask them exactly, what they provide, you notice they can't really think of nothing besides sex and, yeah, just about it. Just sex. Yeah. Or they objectify themselves, but don't call them objects. Don't refer to them as objects. You know, that's the wrong thing. You should don't refer to a woman as an object. Let her refer to her as herself. But let's this is when I get really in my savage bad. Let's take out some fire points. Let's choose some fire darts real quick. Get my air horn in. Now, me personally, I think marriage is a scam. I don't think that you have to allow the government or anybody else to be involved in a relationship that you have. I don't, even some family members, because a lot of family members have terrible relationships, has a terrible relationship history, but they always want to, be in people's ears, talking down on them, saying, "Oh, well, you need to do this. Oh, well, he needs to do. Well, she needs to." And that's how relationships usually end, because you get opinions from outside forces, and then it kind of breaks up a healthy and happy home. So that's my 5 points on it. And another thing, I hate this whole, you know, women have to be the prize, so men have to. No, I don't believe in that at all. I don't believe in that, not one bit, because there's a lot of relationships that we think are successful because of the presentation, or because they have money and they have a certain status, and they're miserable as shit. So sometimes I don't necessarily believe in that per se. And if that's the case, why can't you just? I mean, a lot of times, if you're so independent and you're so this and that to your man, I mean, if you can divorce him, can you be able to handle living on your own and be able to maintain? Not saying women can't. Again, I'm not saying women can't. I don't want people to think this is a women hate thing. But I'm just saying, for the feminist, woman empowerment people that's probably watching this or not. I mean, do you really mean what you say when you say the things that you're talking about? Or is it just, smoke and mirrors? But I think that is exactly what it is, smoke and mirrors. And I think a lot of times, love, people don't really know what it means. Like I said, it's a lot of is love unconditional? I mean, if you think it is, if you think it can be, then I believe you think it can be. That's all I mean, if you believe in it, if you think that it's possible that you can love and appreciate somebody without putting a certain amount of conditions on them and thinking that they need to do X, Y, Z to meet your needs, tip my hat. But, and this is where the cynicism comes in from what I've experienced. If, especially, being a man, if you got nothing to provide, unfortunately, you ain't worth shit. So it's like, I mean, even from when you're raising a toddler as a boy and toddler as a girl, even baby boys get tougher treatment. Yeah, I get it. Make sure they live in a tough world, but both genders gotta learn how to be tough in some ways. No, I mean, you kind of like traumatizing the boy per se, and thinking the girl is like living in a fantasy land. You know, I think both boys and girls should be able to understand what it's like to be tough. When they fall down, whatever. Because not everybody's gonna pick you up when you fall down. That should go for men and women. So I don't think toughness and tough love should be only exclusive to young boys and men, because then it comes to making them seem like they're just, you're making them like robots. You're making them seem like they don't have to love nobody, or they're not appreciated. Because then they get in these relationships like, well, he doesn't really open up or whatever. Then when he does open up, you call him soft. So it's just like, it's very confusing. It's very conflicted. But are men respected as a whole? Nowadays, I can't really tell. I can't really tell if men are respected as a whole. I think the only time, like I said, I think the only time men could be respected if they're providing something from somebody. And that could be business, personal, whatever. And sometimes, I mean, to be honest, most of the businesses, and people are getting, I mean, I'm gonna get some flack for it, but most of the strong businesses or industries that women are in deals with how they look, while as men, it's more of what can you provide for the world. If that's the case, most of the billionaires that are men would be in makeup, or modeling and stuff like that, or the men would be in that industry if that's the case. But you got to say, well, we're not objects. I'm not saying that we're not saying that you are, but I mean, when's the last? I mean, last time I checked, I rarely see a person stay long term with an attractive guy with no money. Sure, it's good sex, but long term, it's not really worth much. Meanwhile, the guy that doesn't really have much good, in the look department, but he's able to provide, your a fantasy for your playground for you. Then all of a sudden, you're running back into him, making sure you be. I mean, you be saying you don't want to make a man a sandwich, but if you cut your allowance off, I guarantee you be ready to do all types of shit with your man. I guarantee. But but that's what I'm talking about. That selective feminism, and I think that has to stop. I don't think it shouldn't be none of that going on. Everybody has their assigned duty, their assigned job. It shouldn't matter, who provides what. I think it just matters on what a person, how a person makes you feel, and what they mean to you as far as like making your day feel better. Just something simple as that. Like, can they make your day feel better after you have a rough, day at the job? You know, every time when you're in the house and when y'all just chilling, can y'all just have a chill day? Can like you don't hear a lot of people say, I just love your company. A lot of couples don't do that. It's almost like, so when you gonna pay this? When you gonna is my mic on? Hold on. Is my mic on? Oh. I was like, my mic was off for a second. Anyway, but like a lot of people don't really appreciate like the whole dynamic of a bond, a union. People don't understand that concept of just y'all just sit down, shoot the breeze. Don't even like take nothing too serious. Just say, like, you know what? I appreciate you just making my life feel better. It's something like that. Everything always has to be money and what you could do for me and X, Y, and Z. And that's where a lot of relationships fail. Just my two thoughts. But here's final thoughts. Let's see. Men and women should compete with what their value is. I think it's really kind of corny that we became a society that does that now. Growing up, I don't remember it being like that. I probably seen little hints, but coming from you know being in the generation I'm in, it's almost like sad in a way, you know, especially with what's being pushed out as far as the frequency was being shown, as far as as far as programming TV, and as far as music, what people listen to, who they listen to, is become bad, and it's showing like how like just like I'll be in like parties and whatever, and I see people like around my age group like just be dead, you know, just no energy, no emotion. Everybody has the same type of mindset for men. For men, it's like fuck bitches, get money, and that's it. I'm like, dang, like, are you gonna do this till you're 30, 40, 50? Same thing with women. But it's bad. Like women, it's weird because a lot of them are, switching roles a lot too. Because now the women are kind of behaving like that. But the crazy thing is, they're behaving like the men they don't like, or they end up raising the men that they said that they don't like. but passing up actual good men. And it also reminded me, and I'll probably do a continuation of this, but it reminded me of something else. But we'll get into that next time. But that's all. I just noticed that a lot too. Like people don't really know how to appreciate nobody no more. Like I said, a lot of relationships is it's very transactional instead of just pure raw emotion. You know, not just not trying to think of the word. It's not organic. You know, a lot of really. I mean, when's the last time like you heard like a song on the radio where it was like that '90s R&B vibe or even 2000s R&B vibe? You don't even hear like the energy of like that no more on the radio because everything's so dead. Everything is kind of it's literally walking like The Walking Dead. Like people moving like zombies. Nobody knows how to interact with nobody no more. You know, I see people in the club, like I see videos and all that. People, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, sometimes if I don't want to engage, you know, I'll be on my phone sometimes. But I mean, like, bunch of people just surrounding you, and you just not even engaging. But like when I used to see like people, not to put clubs with relationship, but like you know, just any gathering where people connect and meet, because you're gonna have to find your significant other from somewhere doing something. I mean, maybe in the forest, y'all hunting for some deer or some bears. I don't know, but you're gonna eventually find somebody somewhere. But it's just you know nobody knows how to interact anymore. It kind of reminds me of that episode of The Family Guy where they cut off the internet and like people was like panicking, like, "Are you talking to me regularly?" Like I was like, so, and then there was like beating the dude up, like, "Are you talking to me normal? Or did you ask me a question?" Like that's like what's kind of happening right now. Like people, another thing too. A lot of people don't look you in the eye when they conversate no more. Like, don't get me wrong, I have moments where, like, for example, say I'm looking and I'm talking, whatever, and then I'm just kind of think about what I'm gonna say, and then I'll go back, talk, and I think about what I'm gonna say, then I come back. These new kids, they just be like, "Hey, what's up? Well, I got this thing going on." Like what? But hey, I mean, who am I to judge? I get it. I was the socially awkward person at one time, but eventually you got to grow up out of that. You know, I would say men and women got to stop being enemies to one another. We have a design role. We get to learn how to be in that role and to stop thinking that we're the enemy, especially us as a whole, black community as a whole. But in melanated indigenous, y'all know what I mean. I'm trying not to say black, but anyway. Uh, Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe on here. I'm on Spotify, Anchor, Apple. I hear coming soon. Follow me on my IG, official Dissect the Dialogue, and like, share, comment, whatever. Let me know what y'all think. But until next time, I'm gone. Peace.